Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
You know what I mean?
That's the reality. Mm-hmm. That's the reality. We need to start talking to people who are genuinely impacted by this. If we want to change the narrative, which is why I appreciate you asking me to come on. And we had a bit of back and forth. I'm like, nah, I don't want to. But then you're right. Alhamdulillah, you're right.
It's crazy. Dr. Tijani, I want to show you a small video clip.
Okay.
Right? And I want you to comment on this video clip, inshallah, okay?
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Dr. Qali Hussein. I want to talk to specifically the Somali community about a couple of things. So I've been, texting or messaging on social media a lot about the Black Lives Matters movement, as well as the coronavirus before Memorial Day and the death of George Floyd. So, we have a lot of, the racism that we're talking about right now. It is persistent in the healthcare field, and the fact that the mortality of coronavirus among Somalis and among African Americans, minorities, is pretty significant, and that's one of the reasons why. So I recently received a call from many people, actually, as far as the treatment of patients who are Black, who are Somali, who are minorities in the hospital. And one of the things that I've seen is that there is there's a recommendation for them to opt out of treatment. There's an option for them to say, you know what, because you have all these medical problems and because you're African American and it's used as a risk factor for you not doing well, that treatment is withheld. Okay, so, and they usually say, do not intubate, do not resuscitate, which means if they stop breathing on their own, don't put a tube down, and if their heart stops, don't restart it, don't do anything. So I wanted to do a little bit of community education on what that is. Okay, so when you go to the hospital, you're given an option of code status. Okay, the code status is if anything bad were to happen, if your heart stopped, if you stopped breathing, if your blood pressure dropped, significantly, what would you want us to do? Okay, and so the options are full code. Okay, full code. That's do everything. Give medications. Put a tube down if they need it. Give them blood if they're bleeding to death. Basically, do everything you can possible to treat whatever the underlying cause, to give that person the best chance of survival. Okay, so that is full code. The other extreme, the other end is DNR. Okay, do not resuscitate. If you hear DNR, it means do not resuscitate. And what that means is don't do anything. If their heart stops, don't do anything. If they stop breathing, don't do anything. Don't put a tube down. Don't give them any breathing treatment. It means don't do anything. Let the person die. Okay, that's what that means. There's another form called DNI. Okay, that's do not intubate. Okay, DNI means do not intubate. And what that means is if you stop breathing and you have a hard time breathing, and that's the main problem with coronavirus is, your lungs are infected and you have a hard time breathing, your oxygen drops, right? Intubation, putting that tube down, is the best treatment we have right now, okay? It's supportive care. But DNI, giving that option to, African Americans, Black, minorities, anybody who has a language barrier, giving that as an option to say they're going to do bad anyway, DNI, that is a health disparity. That is why more of us are dying from this disease, because we're being presented with the option to not do anything, okay? So DNI means do not intubate, means don't do anything, okay? So from full code to DNR DNI. Okay, the first option you're going to be given is DNR DNI. I've seen this firsthand, so there's really not going to be, you know, any convincing of that needs to be done. So what I want you guys to do is educate your community, your family, your friends about these options. Okay, when you go to the hospital, unless the person has end-stage terminal disease, they're going to hospice and they're dying, and you don't want to prolong their suffering. If it's a young, healthy patient who has a good chance of survival with the treatments that we have, full code is what you want. Okay, full code. Okay, you want intubation, you want a tube. Intubation basically means a tube down your throat to help support your lungs. Okay, so full code. Do not intubate is only if, you know, you have no other option and this person is terminal. Okay, do not intubate means don't put a tube down, and do not resuscitate means if their heart stops, do not resuscitate it. If their heart stops, I mean, we have patients who have coded, whose heart stopped, that have multiple medical problems. I think I restarted a guy whose heart stopped right on the floor, and we did the CPR and everything on the floor. Within 4 days, he was out of the hospital. Right? So the survival rate inside hospital is much better than survival rate, if you have a heart attack or your heart stops outside of the hospital. We already know that. But if you want everything done for your family, especially if they're young and healthy and were completely stable before they went to the hospital, you want full code. DNR, DNI, if they present you with that option, tell them, explain, why do you want them to be DNR, DNI? What is your reason? And if they use, they're African American as an excuse, that is a healthcare disparity, that is a bias. Okay, so if you have any questions, please leave it below, and I will try to answer it as much as I can. But this is an important teaching point that I keep seeing over and over and over. Okay, we need to know the language so that we can make good choices for our family members. All right, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. So what you think about that, Sheikh?
Oh, subhanallah. Is 110% a true percentage? I 110% agree with the sister. I think she outlined a few key things that I would also like to highlight. Essentially, what seemed to be at the core of the issue is health literacy. Meaning, we, unfortunately, as a community, do not know enough about health and the healthcare system and how it functions. And we have a bunch of people going around spreading all these false information, and we just seem to be the ones that gobble it up the most. And they know that given our history and what happened to us in the past, we're more likely to listen.
Yes.
That's just the reality. Right. So we're more susceptible to a lot of this false information because of our history.
Because of our history. Actually, this is a major part of our history. We've always been fed misinformation. Always.
And so at some point, we're all going to, both individually, as a family, as a community, start saying enough is enough.
Yes. We're
not going to listen to individuals who don't have our best interest at heart.
Exactly.
We gotta stop doing this.
That's my thing.
To stop doing this.
Why are we listening to outsiders? We have
individuals who are working with you in the trenches.
Who
you can see their blood, sweat, and tears with your community back to back. I mean, when we study our Islamic history, that's what we found. The Prophet wasn't chilling, and his masjid is being built. The companions had to say to him, Ya Rasulullah, I mean, you got to relax. And he's like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
In the trenches.
He's literally, the Prophet ﷺ was literally in the trenches. When I say literally, I mean, he was literally digging the trenches himself, right? And this is the approach that we have to have. We have to talk to our own people, the people who are there, who have our best interests at heart. I'm sorry, Dr. Rashad Buttar, he's not one of us, and he's not a frontliner. And I don't understand why we listen to somebody like that.
And he's not in the trenches. This is not an attack on somebody's qualification. Even myself, if I make an error, if I say something that's not true, I would want persons to say to me, hey, no, what you said is not true. And it has nothing to do with a personal attack. Mm-hmm. We have to get away from personality worship.
Yes.
We got to deal with somebody who's in the trenches with you, mm-hmm. and is suffering with you, mm-hmm. and is giving you advice. You got to start at some point, start saying, why am I listening to somebody else?
Thank you.
Who's not with me on this journey? Like, it's just, it's unfair, mm-hmm. and it's doing a disservice. And if you look at what the sister was able to.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. So unfortunately, that is the end of the video with Dr. Sulaiman Tijani. I had lost internet connection and I was not able to finish that interview. So I know it's a little bit anticlimactic, but as soon as I get a chance to interview the doctor as well, I will post it for you guys. Now, as most of you know, or you may know, you may not know, but my YouTube channel was sabotaged, and that's why I'm not able to put these videos on YouTube. So it was sabotaged by Nasser Hambali. And you know, the content that I'm putting on my YouTube channel, you can't find this stuff anywhere else. So I don't ask you guys for anything. You know, I put these videos out completely and solely for the sake of Allah, for you guys, for the love of the community, concern for the community, for concern for the Muslims, for the Black community. That's why I make these videos. Nothing else. I don't ask anybody for anything, you know. It's, as you can see, it's original material. It's material that's important. I've interviewed Dr. Abdulhaq Baker. I've interviewed the founder of Troid, and I've done many videos exposing the South Africa cult, and many videos pertaining to the Black community. So what I'm asking for you guys now, because I don't ask you guys for anything, right? But I'm asking you because there's a lot of hard work and a lot of hours went into these videos. So I need you guys to support my channel. As soon as I get my YouTube back up again, I'll let you guys know. But you guys have to like, subscribe, share these videos. These, as you can see, these videos are very important. They're relevant to the community right now. And I need your support. So, because nobody else is going to support us. We have more than enough haters, right? It wasn't the first time somebody tried to sabotage my channel. Vigilant One tried it as well, right? So, for me, in my mind, I can't even think of going to another Muslim's channel and trying to shut it down. That thing, and most of us kind of think like that, but you got to understand there are very malicious people out there that wear thobes and beards. That's what you got to understand. And they take advantage of your good manners in order to push their own agendas. So that's why we make these videos, so you guys can be hip to this game. It's no joke, man. This stuff is really real. So support my channel, support me on Patreon. I will get some crowdfunding going, inshallah, so that I can keep pushing these videos for you. And as soon as I get a YouTube again, I will let you guys know. You know, show me some love, okay? All right. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.